surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio.
So we're just raw dogging it, huh? Just out here raw dogging it on a Friday afternoon. I don't know how I feel about that. Normally like to get a nice tickle or something beforehand.
Well, what happened?
Just like to be massaged. That would be nice. Don't know why it is.
What would have been massaging about what we would have come in with?
Well, and again, it's not the type of massage. It's the concept. That's what it is.
The concept?
Good afternoon. We are live at Ridley Athletic Complex here at Loyola, where this weekend is Whipsnakes homecoming weekend, and actually Maryland Charm homecoming weekend, as well as the PLL makes its annual visit to Baltimore for the summer. We're going to be hanging out with some PLL folks later on in the program. CEO Mike Rabil is going to be stopping by. Our buddy RJ Kaminski, the face, I guess, of the PLL. I don't even know. Who is the face? Is Paul the face of the PLL?
Is it Rob?
Yeah. That's a good point. I think RJ might be the most known, though, because you, of course, see him on all the videos and the vlogs. And, we're going to catch up with him later on in the program. So looking forward to doing that. And you never know who might be stopping by as the show goes on. Plus, we're going to talk some baseball. Zack Britton's going to join us in a few minutes. He had some stuff to say about analytics recently. I want to talk to him about that, as well as obviously his experience on the MLBPA Executive Committee, as we got some news this week about that first offer from Major League Baseball, as everybody's thinking that we are headed towards a strike. And former Raven, now New York Giant, Isaiah Likely will be checking in with us as well. So a lot to do on the program today. No board behind me, which is probably for the best because there's no man of the match for us to celebrate, as obviously the Orioles lost 2-1 last night to the Blue Jays. I don't really have a ton to say about it. Chris Bassett, it's weird, right? I said the other day, the results are the most important part, but the pitching is seemingly equally as important, and I continue to feel that way, where it's disappointing that the Orioles lost, but in the trajectory of, this question that we keep asking ourselves this week, are the Orioles back? It also kind of feels like it is as significant that Chris Bassett went out and delivered another good start. And I'm not trying to forgive the Orioles for their sins or pretend as though they're not guilty of the crimes that they committed last night, like having runners on second and third and being given an insane gift by terrible defensive play from the Blue Jays in the first inning and not cashing it in to score even a run, or Pete Alonso getting picked off after kind of getting another gift and reaching base to extend the eighth inning. Like, I don't want to give them a pass for those things offensively, but I think the offense is going to be good enough for the most part. Wasn't last night. I acknowledge that. I think for the most part, the offense is going to be good enough. I think the question has been about the starting pitching. And the weird part about last night, as disappointing as that loss was, as frustrating as it was, in a strange way, I would also say it's encouraging because it's one more really good start. It's one more to add to the pile of the positive evidence that we have about where the Orioles are headed pitching-wise. And even the one run that was given up by the bullpen, look, Anthony Nunez can't walk three guys. He cannot walk three guys. We all know that. You got to give a young hitter a lot of credit because, those were tantalizingly close pitches. Some frustrated ABS challenges from Adley Rutschman, and really
Were they?
just
I mean, they were.
They were close, but they close. Look, this is the difficult part, and that's why I'm going to continue to say that the computer should just call the balls and strikes. It's unfair. It's what I say about football. The coaches shouldn't officiate the game. The officials should officiate the game. The players shouldn't umpire the games. The umpires should umpire the games. And so the defense of that is, hey, it's the 8th inning. These are big moments. You know, if it's close, why not? Maybe it's there. But that's not, you're not just supposed to say, hey, why not? Maybe you'll get lucky. It's supposed to be, hey, was it actually a strike? And it's not as comparable as like in football when a coach would just piss away a challenge that was never getting overturned because
Who are you talking about?
He wasn't the only one. A lot of them do it. But coaches would just piss away challenges out of frustration. I get it. You don't have that luxury as a catcher. You don't see the box. So the second one in particular, because that's the one where the runs score, that one in particular, maybe you could say, hey, I get it. It's close enough. It's so significant. But it's also a piece of evidence as to why it is that I want. I want.
So there can be no argument whatsoever?
Yeah, I want ABS to be just the way that we determine balls and strikes. Frustrating loss. Frustrating because the Orioles have the momentum. And it's a game that they absolutely could have, and you could argue should have won, given how well Chris Bassett pitched. But not one that suddenly makes me say, oh, hell, this is proof none of this actually mattered. Offense has to be better, unquestionably. Unquestionably has to be better. But that start from Chris Bassett, to me, as significant as anything else that happened in the game. And now the Orioles will just go try to win more games this weekend. And it's imperative, right? Like, you can't give anything back at this point. You don't really want to go 500 for the series. You don't really want to split it. But you just can't give anything back in order to keep the positive momentum that you built from winning 5 out of 6. So that's where you're at. All right. As I said, lots to do on the program today as we are live here at Ridley Athletic Complex, getting ready. Both the Whipsnakes and the Maryland Charm in action this evening. The Maryland Charm playing their first ever regular season game in the WLL. The Whipsnakes off to a 1-1 start to the season. Was really interested in something that our next guest had to say on Twitter recently, and really any opportunity that we have to catch up with our next guest is one that we like to take. He is a legendary former Orioles closer, our friend Mr. Zack Britton, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Zack, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us this afternoon. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Zack, it was interesting. I don't know if there was any one particular thing. I'm sure you're aware. Obviously, your brother's here. You follow the Orioles still. But there's a lot of hubbub in recent months. Mike Bordick, Ben McDonald had some things to say about analytics. What inspired your post? Was it any of this conversation? Was it something that you saw? Like, what led to what it was that you wanted to say about where, like, old school and new school are kind of meeting each other in this moment?
Yeah, I think that it's something that now that I stopped playing, I get the opportunity to watch a bunch of different games. And, I think being able to not just watch one team and kind of pick through, like, you see the game as a whole, and you kind of understand that there's a lot of things going on where it comes to, like, fundamentals or how analytics are kind of used throughout the game right now. And when the game starts, it's really hard as someone that played to implement a lot of the things that the data shows you pregame. At some point as a player, as you mature as a player, you got to understand kind of what the game that day dictates that you do. And it might be something that is a little bit outside the box, maybe something that's not like you drew it up pregame. So it's a lot of that. It's not necessarily the Orioles. Like, obviously the Orioles have had their struggles, but overall, I think it's just like the game as a whole.
I feel like it's relevant for us, Zack, because we're trying to figure out why no one's going to hit 300 anymore, right? Why it seems like There's a lot of guys that are swinging for home runs, and this is not unique to Baltimore. It's obviously throughout baseball. And the easy thing for a lot of people to say is, well, this is the analytics era, to use the word analytics as some sort of like boogeyman. Whereas, as we all know, the concept of analytics is simply data, right? It's just information. That any data point is an analytic, if you will. This era of baseball and the way that particularly offensive players have changed their approach, has it been uniquely bad? Is it something that we only complain about when it's our team that's struggling, and there's always going to be a point at which your team is, every team's going to struggle at some point? Or do the people that flip out about it, do they miss something about the value of that data and why maybe offensive baseball has changed?
Yeah, you're right, 100%. It's all just data, right? And you can pick and choose what you want to use, and I think that's the idea. I think ultimately most front offices would love the players to be able to pick and choose what works for them and then apply it, and it helped them in their performance. I mean, ultimately that's what it is. I went, when I was with the Orioles, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have the iPads. We didn't have the access to data as easily. Like you would have to ask somebody in the front office to bring you down. I was actually having Scott Boras give me information because he had his own analytic department. When it came to like ground balls and like some of my positioning, I was wondering, I was giving up a lot of infield hits, and I was wondering, what was kind of going on behind there? Was there a way for me to not give up so many infield hits? So and then I go to the Yankees, where it's just like you have access to everything. Like on your iPad, there's people in the clubhouse that you can talk to. And the one thing that I know about analytics, and it's such a contentious thing, and I had a bunch of fans coming at me thinking that I was like bashing analytics, and like there's just no way that you can, I think, get everything across when you're talking on social media, and that's kind of the problem. Like, and the problem is too, it's either you're 100% in it or you're against it, right? And the reality is that's not true at all. And I think most people that you talk to would agree that it's a balance. But like I said, it's all data. It's about how you use it. When it comes to offense, I mean, slug is what most teams are looking for. Now the Rays aren't doing that. And the one thing that I know from playing for a really long time is the game goes through these waves of like, this is hot, everyone's going to go do it. And then somebody starts doing something else and has success, and then everyone flocks to doing that. And it's just this thing of like, it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so eventually maybe slug won't be the thing. They're going to be like, hey, contact, or just getting guys on base, stealing bases. Maybe the game will evolve back to that. I wouldn't be surprised. But right now, slug is what they want the hitters to do. They want the guys to hit for power. Just hitting a single through the hole, when it comes to, the data, isn't as beneficial as a guy that can slug. Like home runs are so important because it's a quick way to get runs across. So yeah, I mean, guys are tailoring their swings to that because they know it's valuable. It's how they get to the big leagues. And then you get to the big leagues, and pitchers are really good and know that data too. And so pitchers can pitch, I think, more effectively when they know guys are just trying to slug rather than when they're trying to make contact. And I know, like, unless you've been out on the mound and like have studied the hitters, for a guy like me that was a sinker baller, like try to hit a home run all day. That was like the guys I loved to face.
Yeah, by
like,
all means. Yeah.
Give me the best power hitters in the game all day. It was the guys that like slapped the ball or would just make contact that really gave me fit. But yes, the hitters they're being taught that. I mean, it just throughout the game. And I think the Rays are the outlier right now. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, is this sustainable, right? But yes, the hitters, that's what they're being taught, and that's what they're being rewarded on. And so you fault the hitter to an extent, like I would as a player. I would say, hey, guys, like let's make an adjustment. Like we're hitting 200. Like we're not getting on base that much. And like every now and then we're hitting a home run. Like that's not sustainable. That's not how you're going to stay in the big leagues for a really long time.
I feel like Zach, in particular here, the conversation is surrounded like Gunnar Henderson, who we raved about when he arrived because he just seemed like a professional hitter. And this year, look, when he's hitting home runs, he hit 2 the other night, right? Like, it's incredibly helpful, but it has felt like it has become more of this all or nothing. And it's easy for me to say because, I want the Orioles to do well, right? I'm an Orioles fan, so it's easy for me to say, hey, stop doing that. Whereas somebody else might say, right, but if he hits 40 home runs, somebody might pay him $50 million a year to play baseball. So I don't know how to handle this conversation because some of it also I think is undoubtedly just what I'm used to, and I'm still the guy that's obsessed with looking at somebody's batting average on the back of a baseball card, whereas no number of people within this organization would tell me, Glenn, why do you still even bother to look at batting average? We don't even talk about batting average. To your point, it's slug or obviously OPS.
Yeah, but right. And absolutely. It's hard to fault like a guy like Gunnar Henderson because I know that he's being rewarded on slug and home runs, right? And ultimately, these guys are trying to get these big contracts, and that's how you get the big contracts right now. But then you go ahead and you watch like a guy like, let's just say Judge, just because I know him really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's hitting for average and slug. So like there's a little bit like there's also a sense of pride. I know with Aaron that like he wants to have a good batting average. I know it's not weighted that much and like people wouldn't care, but like there's a sense of pride I feel like as a player that at some stage you would hope that some of these guys go, okay, like when I look up on the screen and I see I'm hitting like 200, 220, like it should kind of be like a little bit embarrassed. Like I'm better than that. I know like it's not the end all be all, and it's not ERA is not the end all be all either. Like there's other things you can look at to support whether or not a pitcher's doing well or getting lucky or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, the game is simple, and this is kind of what I said. It's about scoring runs when you're on offense. Like no matter how you do it, it can be home runs one day, it could be moving runners across, stealing bases one day, and then when you're pitching, it's run prevention and same thing on defense. Like the game is. That's an oversimplification of it, but to win each game, you just got to find a way to be the best at that, right? And so there should be moments where, like you're saying, and I think with the Orioles in general, they're going to win games traditionally. They're going to win games by playing good defense, by pitching, by hitting home runs. Like you don't go the whole season and win, only win one way. Well, I mean, and I guess if you do, then you're not going to be very good. But, like at some stage, you got to be like, how do I win today? And then as hitters, you got to take some pride in, like, I don't want to strike out 200 times. Like putting the ball in play and making the defense, play defense is valuable. Being able to move a guy across when maybe I'm not feeling great in the box. I'm not seeing that pitcher like that great. And I banned in the slug. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to try to move this guy over. I'm going to try to slap a single. Like being able to do that is still really valuable. And that's actually how these guys play a long time. I played a really long time and I was really good at throwing my sinker, but if I just relied on that pitch and like didn't adapt, I wouldn't have played 12 years. And the guys that I know for a fact play 10 plus years, they evolve as their career goes on, and they find a way to win that day. It's not always pretty. And that's the one thing. I see a lot of guys, the careers are pretty short right now overall.
That's true.
And I think that has something to do with it. Guys are less willing to adapt. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe, is it the minors and, how you're developing guys and what you're telling guys is valuable, but ultimately when you get to the big leagues, you have to be able to fight and claw and win because ultimately that's what teams want. They want guys that can win, help them win, and produce.
He is Zack Britton. He has a new newsletter out. It's called The Save. We're going to let him tell us a little bit more about that in just a minute. Zach, because we can't solve all of these problems, let's dive into something that we can definitely, you and I, solve within the next 5 minutes, which is the labor situation. Obviously, you and I can handle that, no problem. And I know you are very experienced in this department. You saw the news this week of the offer and the salary cap and the salary floor. I know you and I have talked before about why you don't believe a salary cap makes sense and why the players won't go for it. Is there anything about this initial offer that you think is even a conversation starter? Or do you feel like this is one the players are just going to look at and say, get back to us when you're really ready to talk?
Well, I think I'm not surprised that they, actually made a formal offer of the salary cap. When we were negotiating the last CBA, it got brought up, but I can't remember. I don't think they ever officially offered one. And we shut it down pretty early. And there was a lot of other things that, we wanted to discuss, they wanted to discuss at the same time. So it kind of got put on the back burner. So to see it now, which, like I said, it's not surprising because it's kind of been talked about a lot. But it was interesting to see, the number that they put for the floor, the number that they put for the ceiling. And then to me, the 50-50 revenue split is interesting. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, I can't believe all the owners agreed to do this. And you're like, well, it doesn't take every owner. I think they only need to get 23 owners to approve an agreement. So it's like, that's the whole idea. It's not like everyone's always on board
in that group, right? We can
exactly. Because if I'm the Dodgers and the Yankees, and I'm not going to speak for them, but I've been in the room negotiated across from those teams, and I feel like they're on their little island, and then you have the mid small market teams that are on their own little island, and they're all it's like anything, they group together, right? And so you got to get that group, and then you got to get this group.
Is 50-50 revenue enough to talk about a salary cap, though, right? Is that the argument from some is that, hey, in the end, we've done this math, it leads to more money being spent on baseball players, and this should be viewed as a good thing. Is a 50-50 revenue split enough, or is it just going to continue to be, no matter what you're offering, if it involves the word salary cap, we're not going to talk about it?
I think that so it would, the 50-50 revenue, I mean, we could talk about it all day, but so it would depend on how they define baseball related income, right? And in the other leagues, I don't want to act like what I'm saying is 100% factual because I'm just kind of spitballing, but based on kind of the information I had in the past, I think these leagues started out around a 50-50 split. And then it doesn't really work out to where that's what they're getting. Sometimes to figure out how you can get them on board with packaging. They have to figure out how you can get them on board with packaging their networks into a huge MLB deal. But that could be a massive, just an absolutely massive TV deal, and team valuations will go through the roof. So if I was ever going to negotiate a revenue split, if I was the players, I would take that into account. Now, if I'm the owners, I want a cap because then that puts, everything's more defined, how much I'm going to spend, how much I'm going to keep. And that's what ultimately drives up valuations, right? Is cost certainty. So I think there's an avenue where honestly, I wouldn't give any trade secrets, but there's an avenue to where owners could get probably some type of cap without calling it a cap.
Okay. I don't know what another term could be for that, right?
Right. Without calling it a cap, right? Yeah. I think there's way the deferred money, making that actually count as present day value, would be a start.
Okay.
There's a bunch of, I think there's ways for them to get, I think, the more of cost certainty than what they have now, which ultimately I think is what they want. But at the same time, I think the players, the argument is I know the argument is why can't we just get the teams that aren't spending to spend more?
Yeah,
and
give us the floor, right? Yeah, the floor.
Yeah, the truth is because roster improvement, right? But it's maybe improving their analytics staff, and they can just say, "Hey, man,
that's the point that we're trying to do it for roster improvement."
We're improving, we're using them to improve our thing, but the intention was for that to actually go back into your major league roster.
Yep.
And so, the union files grievances all the time, when they feel teams aren't, honoring that, but the language is too broad. I feel like you need to tighten that language, and that would immediately add some more dollars going to MLB rosters. So there's little things, and a lot of the stuff, when you get behind closed doors, the conversations are so different than you leak to the media like what you want the media to know, right?
Yep, because it sounds good. Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of us look at that and say, "Hey, that looks pretty reasonable," Like,
right, both sides.
Maybe they're the good guys. Maybe they're the ones that we should be rooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was doing this, like some of the people in the media would call and ask, and I would tell them like the things that I felt like they should know, and it's like I'm not going to tell them all the stuff.
Right.
Right. But yeah, so I think there's some avenues there that. The players can get what they want.
What I appreciate, though, is that you sound a little bit more encouraged. And when we've talked, you've seemed like it's just not a fait accompli that we're not going to have baseball in 2027. Like, you seem like perhaps there's somewhere at least that you're starting this to give us a chance to get this thing solved.
I think it's too important for, like I said, the upcoming TV deals in that negotiating period. I think it's really important for MLB to have that a majority of that season, if not the whole season next year. Fans are really interested in the game. Viewership's growing. Revenue. Don't quote me on this, but I think you can do the research. But I think in I think since 2024,
too much.
I know. I think since 2024, like baseball made more revenue than like the NBA.
Oh, wow.
So don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty confident. I think the year was 2024.
Hang on a second.
Either way.
I am looking to see if I can come up with that.
You have to Google this. But
you know what? Since 2024, or at least in 2024, I've got $12.1 billion for MLB and 11.6 for the NBA.
Okay,
look at you.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, this is that. Dude, we could do this, as I tell you every time, we could do this for another hour, and I would be compelled by it.
I know. But they're doing well. The sport's doing well. Like there's things that are coming up for them that are important.
Don't screw it
up. Yeah, I just don't think it's like put your foot in the sand and be like, we want salary cap. And I think for the players, as we've shown before, I mean, I was on the group that voted no against this current CBA, and we got overruled by the player group. So, like when the player group as a whole comes together, like they can kind of do whatever they want. Like the subcommittee is only 8 guys, and like I said, we unanimously voted no on this last CBA because we thought we could get it better, and we got overruled. So
that's interesting. Zach, real quick, can you give me a 30 seconds on the save and what people should be knowing about it as they go to sign up?
Yeah, it's basically what I'm doing right now, but I'm typing. It's just like it's my way of. Like, I don't want to set up a podcast. I want to talk about what I want to talk about when I want to talk about it. And I feel like it's just a better way for me to reach people. I can sit at my computer for a few days, type up, my thoughts, and then just shoot it out. And I really actually enjoy it because there's a lot of things that I've experienced or a lot of things I want to talk about. And it's just, to me right now, it's a better platform for me. And so I'm hoping people are enjoying it. I'm hoping more people want to read it, and I'm going to cover a lot of this CBA stuff in there, and then just things in general. I'm going to talk about the draft and my draft experience and some of these prospects and just little things throughout my career or some inside stories and just a little bit of everything. But awesome. Yeah, it's just basically doing what I'm doing right now, just typing.
At Z Britton, if you go there, it's pinned up there, so you can find it. It is that easy. It's called The Save, or go to thesavenewsletter.com as well. Next time, what I'm gonna do is one of these days I'm just gonna say you get the entire show, and we're just gonna talk through everything at that point. Zack Britton, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Zack Britton, of course, Orioles legend, and some really good insight there. And I do appreciate his positivity because it seems like everyone else is just convinced that we're not gonna have baseball in 2027. Glenn Clark Radio, a Friday edition of the program. We are live at Ridley Athletic Complex here at Loyola. It is Maryland Whipsnakes homecoming weekend. Thank you for the PLL. I've known this guy for a long time. I think, was Shootout for Soldiers the first time that we ever actually met, RJ?
Probably 2012, 2013.
Wow,
it's been a while.
Wow. He is the pride of Boys Latin. This is a straight shoot. I said this to Griffin earlier. I don't even know technically what your title is with the PLL. I just know that you, to me, are the face of the PLL.
I have the fun job. I have the fun job. All things talent, influencers, and hosting as well. So every day is different for me.
RJ Kaminski, it's great to see you, buddy.
Dude, thanks for having me. Thanks for being
Absolutely,
here
man.
on site.
Dude, you know, I felt like there was a real chance. I'm like, am I not going to be able to get out here? I've told everybody else. I have Cub Scout camping with my kids this weekend.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you missing it?
No. We had leave in the morning.
Okay.
So the only way I was going to get out here was to but I have to go pack. Like I have to get a tent ready and all that. So I was like, how do I make it happen? Because I come out every summer. It's one of my favorite things.
Hell yeah.
Years ago, I brought the kids. The kids, when they were little, thought they were playing in the game. There was a year where straight shoot, Paul gave them like the super sideline access.
They're basically getting a run in.
But
that's also what makes the difference for us too, is the access you get to the players. You're not getting that at a Ravens or an Orioles game.
100%. RJ, there's so much to cover this year. A lot that's new, a lot that's different. The biggest, I think, of course, being the WLL. We're going to see the Maryland Charm tonight.
Yeah, first ever game for the Charm, first ever summer game.
What is it to you that's most exciting about the WLL and the investment that the PLL has made in women's lacrosse?
The enthusiasm from the fans and players alike has been spectacular to watch. Was able to shot the first game day vlog for the WLL last week in Rhode Island. It was the Boston Guard versus New York Charging, and walking into the locker room, there was more excitement in the locker room than 2019 PLL. It felt like these players are so ready for the stage and the moment, and they've just been waiting for this, and they exude it in all of their actions and how they carry themselves. And watching that on display last week was amazing. I can't wait to get in there with the players this week and see fans in the stands watching the first game between these two. It's your history. I mean, this is a game you save your ticket stub for.
We were talking to Sydney Black, who I've known for a long time, obviously, given my role here at Loyola. We were talking to her yesterday, and it did also strike me that this comes with obviously it's significant on the men's side as well, but the significance in the subtext of this is the first full season of the Pro League where these players are also trying to compete to, go to the Olympics. And as much as it's this team and you want your team to do well, it feels like there's a lot of subtexts that sort of exist in this moment.
A lot of subtext and storylines and ways for us to break through into the mainstream with this league. Of course, you have Charlotte North scoring the first ever goal. You watch that on ESPN,
I've heard of her.
Sports Center. Yeah. But there's many more stories to be told, and that's what our team is focused on, and especially the ones that punch through to the mainstream. I mean, speaking of mainstream, Chloe Humphrey coming tonight to sign autographs here. Just getting to know her other two sisters.
She's okay.
On the Whips too. On the Whip. I mean, we're gonna have all three of them on the same WLL team. Like who knows? But what an epic story that they won a national championship together. What are the odds?
I don't know when we're going to start seeing players jump to the WLL after 2 years. Something like that. Start saying,
We'll see.
Gosh, Chloe Humphrey's unbelievable.
We'll
man.
see. I mean, the Wall Street Journal article on her last week with her name, Caitlin Clark, and Michael Jordan all in one headline.
That's pretty strong.
Pretty
That's
epic.
a pretty strong combination. RJ, you use the word mainstream, right? This is fascinating for what you do. The league's been around for a while now. You've been doing this. You were in on the ground floor. The level between the pursuit of larger audiences, the pursuit of those that aren't lacrosse fans, versus trying to serve the people that are ardent lacrosse fans. And as a broadcaster, I deal with it constantly.
Oh yeah.
It is a very fine line, right? How do you guys handle the storytelling part of this and two very different audiences that are both very important to what it is that you're trying to do?
It's a great question. I think our broadcast team does a great job of this. Clark, Ryan Boyle, they do a great job of satisfying the existing fans, the fans that know all the X's and O's and the vocab and terminology, but then also being really welcoming to those who are tuning into a game for the first time. And we try to do the same when it comes to social media. I think that the note and the learning that has informed our decision-making on how we try to punch through to the mainstream, who we work with, is that anyone, whether it's a musician like a Method Man or someone else who's coming out to a game that has mainstream appeal or is an actor, celebrity, we only work with folks that have a background in lacrosse and love this game.
That's interesting.
I think Warren Ziders is a great example. Our Saturday Night Lacrosse theme song with Ride the Lightning. I mean, Warren loves lacrosse. He's coming out to the San Diego weekends.
That's cool,
We're pumped
man.
for it. But like we feel like the way to stay authentic and not get blasted by those endemics and folks that are that are already fans of ours is to just work with folks that love the game, because you'll get sniffed out if you're working with someone that's just coming and doing something inauthentic.
RJ Kaminski is with us on GCR. You see him. He's the vlogger. He's the man behind all the storytelling that the PLL is doing as we are live here at Loyola for Whipsnakes homecoming weekend. RJ, the next so the league launches, just existing is a victory, right?
Oh yeah.
Now you're a few years in, and everyone wants to know, right? Like, what's next? And some of it, and I say this all the time, about startups, is like, well, just existing is still part of what's next. Like, just launching isn't the only battle. You still have to battle to keep going. How difficult is it for you and for the league to measure that desire for, we want what's next, we want to have these massive crowds, but again, just having another season of the PLL is also a victory for
This is
us.
where I think the Rabils do such a great job of bobbing and weaving and trying new things, because if we don't do that, we're gonna be on a shelf. We're gonna be dusty if we just do the same thing, roll out the same season. The feeling I got in my stomach when they came and presented the idea of starting a championship series, an off-season tournament, it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do that. Similar feeling to them the first meeting, like, hey, we're gonna launch the WLL. It's like,
okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Let's run a second league.
What? So how much more is on my plate exactly?
100%. You're
right?
just like, oh wow, everything's doubling up.
Yeah.
And I think that has really lent to us staying relevant, continuing to grow, get new eyeballs on the sport. When we were in Rhode Island last week, the crowd that came in for the WL game, they came for the WLL, then they left. They bought jerseys, they had a great time, then they left. And it was similar to Champ Series when we had our first WL games. It's a completely different crowd, and they're coming for the WL games, and then they're getting out of there with a smile on their face. So I think that that strategy of developing new properties, dodging, weaving, has allowed us to stay relevant and continue to punch through and continue to grow. Because doing the same thing, going to the same cities, and writing the same playbook every year isn't gonna punch us up to the next level.
What is your pitch? You're someone who cares about the sport. You've been around the sport for a long time. But what is your pitch to the people? And I deal with them constantly. There's so many people that are regulars that are, Glenn, when you start talking about lacrosse, I just check out. And I'm like, God, I wish that you understood. And here, right, in a place that, it's intrinsic to our nature, and I still deal with that. What is your pitch to those that haven't watched, that haven't come out, that don't get it? Why? That say, why should I care?
Yeah, it's instead of giving you a 30-second elevator pitch, the note would be turn on ABC this weekend. Lacrosse has had more exposure since we launched the PLL 8 years ago than it ever has. We have a game on the Big Boy channel once a weekend on ABC or ESPN Maine. More exposure than we've ever had. So my note to folks that are considering watching a PLL or WL game is the product on the field, the different variations and innovations we made, from mic'd up, interviewing players on the sideline, taking their helmets off. I think it really creates an inviting atmosphere for folks getting their first dose of lacrosse. So, of course, we want you to come and enjoy a game in person. It's great seeing the hard hits, the action, the fast-paced nature of the game. But if you're listening to this broadcast at home, flip on the TV, flip on ESPN Plus tonight, or flip on ABC tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I believe, the championship rematch, and just give it a taste for yourself and see what you think. I think you'll like what you see.
The players that someone might know. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement this weekend about the arrival of Joey Spallina for the Whipsnakes.
For him.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Joey Spallina content.
We've already sold a ton of jerseys. Jerseys been out for 2 days.
I'm not remotely surprised by that, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was talking to Rob Pinnell about it the other day, and how
art as a college student, hearing these random people tweet about you and post on Instagram. Art as a college student, hearing these random people tweet about you and post on Instagram about your playing style, whether they like you, they don't like you. It's really hard. Instagram about your playing style, whether they like you, they don't like you. It's really hard. And I feel like he's developed. A pro mentality around how he's carried himself from a young age.
Who else? Who are the other? Who are for the common person that's not a Whipsnakes fan, not a PLL?
What an epic position he has at the face-off X. It's a wrestling match every time, and he's such a great person. Brendan O'Neill he's the LeBron James of the PLL, Whereas I think it was like his 5th or 6th grade highlight tape on YouTube has hundreds of thousands of views. He was 6th grade highlight tape on YouTube has hundreds of thousands of views. He was kind of like the chosen one when it came to YouTube highlights for a young lacrosse player. So just that group of guys, man, I think they're leading the way on the stardom front for the PLL and will continue to do so.
He's the guy that it feels like every player that arrives now, every freshman. God, he's become
so big,
that dude,
He's a big boy. He's so exciting to watch, too.
He is really exciting to watch. There's no doubt about it. All right, what else should we know about this weekend?
We started the season a month early, so it's just new. We're usually at training camp around this time in Albany. So the fact that we have a few weeks under our belt, and the fact that it's 70 degrees out here is really epic.
Man,
instead of 200.
Yeah, you and I have had to apologize for how we smelled when we bumped into each other in recent years at PLL weekends.
So it's a beautiful weekend, and then to get real, just witnessing history tonight with the Charm playing their first full summer game. They're taking on the California Palms. And then our ABC game tomorrow, man, the championship rematch. What an epic battle that was last year. 1-goal game all the way to the end. These guys put it all out on the field. I imagine Denver's going to have a massive chip on their shoulder and be fired up to come back against the team that stifled their championship hopes and dreams last year. Just being out, it's a beautiful view out here, Glenn. Beautiful weather. So if you haven't made your plans for tonight or tomorrow, come on out and give us a chance in person, the PLL.
As everyone knows, I happen to be particularly fond of this venue. I spent quite a bit of time here. Ridley's amazing. There is not a bad seat here.
No.
It's going to be an awesome weekend. All the socials?
All the social, PLL, WLL, W Lacrosse League on Twitter. You'll find us. Check us out on YouTube. I'm gonna do a few vlogs from the week, just all access, locker room huddles, everything from the WLL game in particular, and then I'm gonna do a PLL game too. So head to our YouTube channel. We've been pumping out a lot more over there.
Did you get to spend some time home, or did you just like?
Well, it's funny. I'm no longer the star of the show in my family. I have a niece named Townley, so the whole family's in Charleston right now. So I just got a bunch of friends coming out.
Wait a second.
No longer the star of the show, Glenn.
Wait a second. They knew you were coming home.
Oh yeah.
And they said sorry.
Yeah, the Townley takes precedent in our family.
Oh,
but tons of family. Tons of friends. RJ at Camden Yards leaning over, trying to get Zach's autograph. That I was going to be on a broadcast right after him.
If you would have known, that, you could have said hi to him.
No, I would have just said, "Stay the course, RJ."
You don't understand. Zack Britton's one of the best dudes that has ever lived. That guy is a 10.5. Not that the Orioles bullpen was the problem. They need to score a few more runs than what they scored last night. Use a few more runs.
This was great, Glenn. Appreciate you guys coming out here and shed light on this epic sport as we continue to grow this thing.
You know how much I love what's going on. Griffin is still working on. Do you want to run it by RJ?
What?
What do we got?
So Griffin, of course, has been doing whenever we talk about the Whipsnakes on the show.
We got to do
Griffin does that.
Now, I love that.
Yeah, I asked him if he had something prepared for the Charm, for when we talked about the Charm, and he came up with something kind of on the spot.
I'm ready for it.
You want to run it by RJ?
I guess
see,
so.
See how it goes. So like I said, come up tonight, the California.
Oh, the big snake. Oh,
yeah.
dude, I can put in a word. I see the Rabils down there doing a shoot. I'm gonna put a word in.
Yeah, he really wants that role.
You're gonna be the lead snake charmer.
Is that?
Okay.
Oh, I see. The stars are on the field. I see what's going on.
Yeah, we got the big boy cameras down there.
I see what's happening down there. RJ, love you, buddy.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks for stopping in.
What
and
a
hanging out
pleasure,
with
and
us.
thanks for all you do for the game.
Appreciate you, man.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of the Rabils, Mike Rabil, CEO of PLL, is scheduled to join us next weekend for the PLL. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over
more for the Costas Inn. The new location at Timonian Fairgrounds next to the OTB has the same great food, ambiance, and hospitality as the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard in the heart of Dundalk and Sparrows Point. Both are open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, but remember, it's only the original location for steamed crabs. Take this number down, 410-477-1975 to reserve your slice of Maryland heaven. Make sure you check availability, size, and price point for your next feast.
At the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnkin LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnkin LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkinlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.
Style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Back in here on GCR, and we are live at Ridley Athletic Complex, hanging out with the PLL this weekend as they are hosting Whipsnakes homecoming weekend. Very nice. And the first ever regular season game for the Maryland Charm. But again, we're not committed to that. We're just still working on it. Okay. We're still working on that.
It's good.
That's the type of talent that João Fonseca has. This is his arrival moment. He battles back from down 2-0. He beats Novak Djokovic. And now there are no former Grand Slam champions left in the field, which is wild at the French Open, as we're going to have a new champion this year somehow, some way after that. Today's show is brought to you by County Sports Zone. All year long, everything you need to know about high school sports you've been finding at countysports.zone, which is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Just because the high school sports season is coming to a close doesn't mean that you won't be finding really important information all summer long. News, coaching changes, previews as we start looking towards football. All of that will be available. countysports.zone, again, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. We are out here at PLL, at Whipsnakes homecoming weekend, and it's a pleasure as always. So welcome back to the program. The CEO of the PLL, he is Michael Rabil, and he is with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's great to see you, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
You, it's funny, I feel like last time we talked, you said something funny to me. You're like, my job is, as Paul says everything crazy, he says everything outlandish, then I kind of come clean it up afterwards. Oh. So anything that Paul has said this week that you feel the need that you need to clean up right off the bat?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just watching him right now, making sure. I can't believe I told you that. He writes the checks. I just try to hope to cash them. You know?
I understand that. Michael, this weekend, obviously, we're just talking about it with RJ. Really special. The Maryland Charm playing their first game.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through, for you all, how this came about, the WLL, why it was something that you all said, hey, we want this to be under our umbrella, that we're a part of, and functionally what it took to make this happen and where it might be going in the coming year?
Yeah. You can't ignore the growth at the girls' game, at the high school level, and then at the women's game, at the college level, right? I think there's like double the amount of D1 women's programs there are to men's. So there's a ton of participation. So you have an embedded fan base. And then, the women deserve a great platform. The game is incredible. And, we showcased a little bit a couple years ago when we did at our championship series, which was our out-of-season tournament. And we had an all-star game, and then we were like, man, this is just really great to watch. We went to our investors and said, hey, I think that we should build a platform, and we need to build a women's league. And we went to our broadcast partners at ESPN, and we said, is this something you think is important? We think it's important. And they're like, absolutely, women's important is very important to our platform at ESPN. So we kind of like built it together between our investors, the players, our broadcast partners, and you'll see tonight, right? We made a bunch of rule changes, so their format is very analogous to the PLL format, and I think that's important just for we want to make lacrosse more approachable. Obviously rules are important, but rules that the casual fan can understand.
What should we know about that, right? Because I will talk to people. I'll give you an example. I think she's coming here tonight. My friend MC McFadden was a coach for a long time. Of course, her daughter's the coach at Georgetown. MC would always joke with me when I started calling women's lacrosse. I would say, I don't always know what the call is. And she would say, Glenn, I've been in the sport my whole life. I don't know what some of the calls are. What are the rules changes that we should know as the WL launches?
Well, you should definitely have our head of product up here, Rachael DeCecco. She's the mastermind with Paul. They're some of the best lacrosse players ever play. So I put a lot of the rules in place. My positioning is more around how do we make the game more approachable, more understandable from like a hockey perspective, from a basketball perspective. So there's analogous rules. So we cut out things like, we put in a 2-point shot, right? There's like a lot of mini stoppages. There's like that, other arc shot, and I'm messing it up where they like stop and they run and it's unguarded. We got rid of that. Free position. We got rid of that. So there's just a lot more flow to it. So it's just a lot more easy to understand. It's more analogous to free flowing sports. But for the technicalities, you need Rachael and Paul up here. But my guidance is always very high level, very macro. Let's make this more approachable so we can grow the game, grow the sport. And let's make it more analogous with what has helped the PLL, right? In structuring a lot of those rules. So that was, and then they got in the weeds and started making some of the changes.
Michael Rabil, CEO of the PLL, is with us here on GCR, live from Whipsnakes homecoming weekend at Loyola. Michael, I guess let's go there next, right? Like, we're here at Loyola. Obviously, you guys have had a long time going at Johns Hopkins. And I know this isn't the only stop locally. You're going to do in the All-Star game at Navy.
Yep.
Walk me through the idea of coming over here to Loyola. What's new, what's different, why, and maybe what the future might hold.
Yeah. I mean, Loyola also is a storied program, right? And right now, a lot of what we're doing is we're sort of testing out different venues. We're testing out different parts of cities. And, some of the feedback we got about Hopkins was, yes, it's an institution, but we run fan surveys after every single event. And we take all that information and then we really run analysis against it and try to understand where we have control. Like, we don't own the venues, but we want to test their different venues, right? So there's a storied program. This is, a relatively new stadium. I think it's 14 years old, but on a relative basis, right? There's stadiums that are 30, 50 years old. And it's a great experience in a great part of town. And, we're able to structure a really advantageous deal for fans. So parking's free. Concessions are around like $5-6 for food, right? And people's wallets are being stretched right now in this economy. The entry price to get into a game is $25. We have a saying at the PLL, treat your fans like your best friends. And yeah, we have to run a business, but we also need to be mindful of where people are in this economy. And so we wanted to present with something that was just going to make it a little bit more accessible. Hopkins is in the middle of the city, like hard to park. There's not concessions built into the stadium. We had to bring food trucks. Lines were long. It's kind of center pointed in the part of the city where the sun was beating down on it. There's no shade. So all those things went into it. It's like nothing against Hopkins. Paul won 2 national championships there, and we love the Cordish Center. But we have to do things that our fans want. So that was a big part of this.
I feel like part of my question, and we're going to get to the conversation about permanent homes, right?
Sure.
Is that part of trying new venues? Is like we are thinking about maybe at some point in the coming years there's going to need to be a singular home of the Maryland Whipsnakes?
Who tipped you off?
Yeah.
Come on. Or do you just intuitive? You're a sports
the math
guy.
kind of math.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that we have a pretty good national platform, and an area we can improve on is getting more local, and that's an opportunity, right? So our strengths have been very national, bringing on national partners. We have the CMO of US Bank, who's a great partner, tonight coming in, hanging out with us, right? He has a home in Baltimore. At the same time, we don't have a single local Baltimore sponsor. So how do you do that? You bring in a local owner with us that thinks about ownership of the Maryland Whipsnakes, of the Maryland Charm, and gets into the local community and is bringing 8 to 10 home games in that market. And so we're not, officially selling teams, but we're getting close to that point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does it need to be every team? When you get there,
we like to be the first 8. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but, I think for simplicity's sake, we think about the first 8. And look, there might be we know there are owners in other markets who have approached us that, we know ownership in Minneapolis wants the Water Dogs.
Yeah.
But they're a Philadelphia team, and so we're going to have to make those decisions. Maybe it's the 9th team there, or maybe we hold it to 8 for the first season. All of our games, last year, 50% of our games were decided by one goal.
Are you committed to the markets that you named?
We want to be committed to it.
You want to be committed to those markets.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll tell you this. Some of it depends on, how the audience shows up.
Sure.
you know, in Utah, there's going to be a team that, whether we hold it forever or someone else holds it, those fans show up. Denver, right? I mean, Chicago's showing up. Columbus is showing up. And, you know, we're going to evaluate if people show up and continue to support their team, right? But we want to build, you know, a long-term standing team in Maryland. That's why we continue to come here. That's why we named the Whipsnakes out of them. It just Baltimore and Maryland, it's where we grew up. We're from Maryland, lacrosse, right? Yeah. Like Paul and I grew up in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and you know, lacrosse was our neighbors passed down sticks and put them in our front yard, and we played in the street with our sticks, right? And that's just like it's endemic to this area, and so we love nothing more than to be here forever.
How close are you? Like how close? Like because it's the
very
constant.
Close. It's the main conversation.
Okay.
And look, ultimately we got to find the right owners who want to ride and have duration and have access to real estate and potentially our existing sports owners. I mean, you know, we were with a large sports ownership group in Baltimore yesterday and having the conversation, right? So,
well, there's only a couple of those.
Can't go beyond that.
There's only a couple of those.
We'll see. We'll see
so
where
now,
it goes.
Now I'm gonna have to start guessing. No, I completely understand where you're coming from. But that's notable, right? Like you're not saying, hey, this is down the road. Like
oh no,
you're in that.
We've been doing this for a decade. This is our 8th season, right? Like it's time to get local. And if you look at where opportunity is, there's still opportunity at the national level. What we've been building, but it's time to bring in really great. Hopefully, we can bring in really great local operators. I look at other examples of other leagues, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, most recent the NWSL. I think the NWSL has done a great job with their league and women's soccer, but you can't help but to think that Angel City and the growth and popularity of that team in LA had a lot to do with lifting all the boats. Yep. So with the tide that they created, they just put a lot of investment. They brought stars to the table. They worked the community. They sold a lot of tickets, and then all of a sudden that started to proliferate across the internet, and it helped the other teams. So we won 8 of those types of owners, 10, who are going to get into the community. They're excited about being a part of the pro sports fabric, and ultimately, pro sports are a community business. And I think that's an area that we work really hard at with our PLL Assist mission and our local marketing team, and we do a ton of work with a lot of local organizations, but we're not here on a 365 basis. Correct. So we want to be.
I mean, look,
and that's what we're working really hard against right now.
I think it'd be really exciting for the community for that to be the case. Yeah, but I get it. You got to have the right partners. Michael Rabil, CEO of PLL, sitting down with us here on GCR. The other thing that jumps out to me is the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, a change this year, starting the season earlier, and what comes along with that is you're kind of up against the end of the college season and the guys coming in. What is the thought process with the calendar? Is that like we're committed, this is now what our calendar looks like? Are you trying something out? Does maybe like the World Championships, the Olympics in future years, does that factor into what you're trying to do with the calendar?
Yeah, a couple things. The first one is listening to our fans, right? And one of the, if not the number one sort of piece of feedback we get from our fans is they hate sitting in the sun.
Yeah.
Well, how do we get into different parts of the calendar year that are less, sun beating? It's in the spring or the fall. With our network partner, they have a lot of college football, so there's not a lot of inventory available in the fall, nor do you want to be going against the NFL. So you look at the spring, right? Better part of the year, the weather's a little bit better. And we've been relegated to a 3-month season. You can't build a major pro sports league on 3 months of the calendar. You become irrelevant for 9 months. No one's talking about you. No one's playing. So we have to expand our schedule into some direction is the second piece, right? And so that's in the spring, and we didn't do it by a lot. We did it by a month. And yeah, it's you don't start the season off with some of the rookies, but tonight Joey Spillane is starting out.
That's gonna be fun.
So it's exciting to get them back out there. But those are some of the steps we've taken, and hopefully we're at a place where we have enough growth where it's not like that forever. But we have to build a season that's longer than 3 months. Right now, the summer is the most advantageous. Is where the gaps are in the network with our network partners. It's what pro lacrosse is used to. You can create ultimately, we're in the business of creating core memories for fans.
So what you're saying is we need more like small stadiums that have roofs on them. Is that what we're saying? Like,
if I showed you some PowerPoints of renderings, what I think the future of stadiums, like indoor. Is that 5 to 10,000 person
where
stadiums.
You guys are playing the championship in New Jersey? Do they have a roof on that?
No, they don't. But they have an overhang.
Okay, and that goes a long way, right?
Yeah,
to avoiding
shade,
the sun.
And then if it rains, they're not getting rained on. It's a lot of like the European soccer model because there's just so much rain out there.
We need a lot more of those.
I mean, look, I'll tell you what. When you shoot, and because we play our out-of-season tournament at St. James, and we bring in extra seating because this is a very small venue. It's indoors, but The ball's picked up better because you know the sun glare, right? And we know the ball's small. You never have to worry about a weather delay. You know, the fans can wear a jacket or not inside because it's AC.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't get those insane summer nights like we're going to have tonight.
Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about things you can't control. I mean, I've talked to sports owners who we have good relationships with who are local, and they're like, I only want to be in the indoor sports business.
Yeah.
Hockey,
Because you
basketball,
can control it,
I can
right.
control it
Yeah.
end to end,
Yeah.
right?
It
The
makes
fan
sense,
experience. So
right?
I think it's, I mean, the weather's not getting any better. It's getting more sort of tumultuous. So it's one of those things that we are thinking about and talking about. And then you can think about this is like super in the weeds, but your intuition is really smart,
I'm
man.
a nerd about this stuff.
Yeah,
dude.
well,
I'm such a nerd about it.
If you think about pro sports ownership, the future, like not everyone owns an NFL team where you can build a business on, 10 home games, 11 home games, right? Like it's just not. It's not. So you have to think about it. So I can run state football championships, lacrosse on it.
You are singing my language. I don't know why anyone is. Everybody always tells me I'm soft when I have this conversation.
No,
oh my
dude.
God, listeners get on me. They're
you're
like,
a businessman.
You're so soft thinking about this. Like football's supposed to be out in the cold. I'm like, right, until you're the one that has to choose to go out there when it's 4 degrees, and you say to yourself, no, I think I'm good. And then everybody says, well, why are there so many empty seats for this big game? That's the way that it works. You got 6 other things you got to do.
No, we're good. We can keep going, man. If you have more stuff.
Tell me what's next. Tell me what else is on the – obviously, we're happy to be here. And I was just saying this. I think part of this that people need to recognize is when you're a startup, it's just remarkable to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself is an accomplishment. But what else is on the docket?
I mean, look, that's one of the hard things about being we're an infant compared to the NFL. How long has the NFL been around for? 120 years?
Yeah, right.
And so, everyone aspires, but no one will probably ever be like that. But we're in the infancy stage. And so you're right, man. Like you're obviously a student of sports business. Part of it is sticking around long enough till you get lucky. And what does getting lucky mean? It means global superstar, Olympics is going to be a watershed moment. Hopefully for us, we're going to storytell like shit around that. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
We've been doing that a lot.
I've done worse.
I've been doing that a lot. Sorry. You got me hyped. It's game day.
Here, you
it's
said
game
you have
day.
to clean up after Paul.
It's game day, man. I think that like you want to find those moments of like very big virality, and then hopefully the Olympics has, you see a lot of the athletes who build like, you can't force it. It has to happen organically. What's next for us is like building the WL and sustainability, continue the parity of the PLL, and finding great local owners in the future, right? Like we haven't kicked off a sales process. We're not sure exactly what the structure will look like, but we're working hard on it. And we want to make sure we get it right? And it's something that is really important because when you bring on a team owner, you can get like a compounding network effect where all of a sudden, instead of just 2 founders, we bring in 8 more founders. Mm-hmm. And they're in their community, and they own that team now. Yep. And they're banging doors, and they're working it, and they're humping it just like us. And then we're able to power it from a league perspective. So, the game days will be different, but at the same time, they'll be different because these owners are in these communities. And so, that's a big part of what we're doing. And then we're just constantly trying to improve, man. Like constantly, like the sports landscape has never been more competitive. I was saying this earlier. There's two groups that capital is pouring into right now, 2 asset classes. It's AI and in real life activity, right? And there's more emerging leagues than ever. Right? And I've seen fundraising decks of the PLL and all these new leagues. Like, well, if the PLL can do it and they're lacrosse, we can do it. And so guess what? They'll start up, and we got to go compete against that, right? And so we compete against summer concerts. And we have to make this such a good event that people come back every single year. And then eventually we bring on great owners who are going to be doing it on a weekly basis, right? And so that's what we're really focused on. And, we're excited to be able to roll out our summer season, the inaugural season of the WLL. There's some amazing players out there I'm excited to watch tonight. Folks like you who care and have our players on all week and have us on, like you guys help power this thing.
We are a big fan of the product, and this is the home of lacrosse. And like when you say, hey, people got to show up, I hear that big time. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is Maryland that we're talking about.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. Michael Rabil, can I plug anything for you besides just get out here this weekend?
Get out at PLLtickets.com. Find all the games on the ESPN app. Follow us on PLL and at WLL on Instagram.
It's great to see you, man. Appreciate you coming over and hanging
Thanks
out
for
with
having
us.
me, man. Appreciate it.
Michael Rabil, CEO of the PLL. Still to come, Isaiah Likely, former Baltimore Raven, now New York Giant. That's coming up.
Joined by Rachael DeCecco as well.
Oh, okay.
The vice president of the.
I'm going to learn more about the WLL. That's wonderful. I look forward to that. Is that next?
Yes, it should be.
Then we'll do that next.
Yeah.
We are live here at Loyola for Whipsnakes homecoming weekend. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Well, spring and summer have sprung up in Baltimore. That means more than ever it's time to visit one of the two great locations in Baltimore for the Costas Inn. The new location at Timonian Fairgrounds next to the OTB has the same great food, ambiance, and hospitality as the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard in the heart of Dundalk and Sparrows Point. Both are open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, but remember, it's only the original location for steamed crabs. Take this number down, 410-477-1975 to reserve your slice of Maryland heaven. Make sure you check availability, size, and price point for your next feast. The Costas Inn, always the right choice for dining.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives in on how different Preakness will be temporarily at Laurel Park, and then long-term once it returns to Pimlico. Also inside, Luke Jackson learns more about what Trey Hendrickson will bring to the Ravens. And Karuga Koinange looks at how Samuel Basayo is influencing the Orioles' international signing efforts. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
So I was talking to Michael Rabil, and he said, hey, there's some rules changes coming for the WLL. And I said, well, tell me about those. He said, I've got someone better to tell you about those. You guys might have seen last night that everybody was saying Sean Light became the first defender to ever win the Tewaaraton. Not actually true, because our next guest was a defender who won the Tewaaraton a couple of years ago.
Just a few.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that. At Princeton, she is the Senior Vice President of Lacrosse, the PLL and WLL. She's Rachael DeCecco, and she's with us here now on GCR. Rachael, it's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. I got a little gift for you here.
Oh, I love that. Now, wait a second. Hang on.
Yeah, I can
there we go.
No, because we can be twinsies.
Right,
I actually like this a lot. Rachael, I asked the question of Michael because I told him a joke, right? I don't know if you know my friend MC McFadden, been a longtime coach, of course, her daughter, Caitlin, right?
Yep.
Big lacrosse family. And when I first started calling women's lacrosse, I said, the first game I ever did with MC as my analyst, I said, MC, I'm going to need your help because when I do women's games, I don't always know what the calls are. And she joked back with me. She's like, okay, that's all right. And a lot of us don't either.
None of us do, really.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm so glad.
Good.
It makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel so much better. So tell me about, because Michael was telling me about how in the WLL, the idea is going to be to maybe line it up a little bit more and make the game more palatable for newcomers, for people that are coming in. Can you tell me functionally what that's going to look like?
Exactly right. We want to simplify it. We want to highlight the talent and skill of our players, which looks like 6v6, so in the offensive and defensive end. So it's no longer 7v7, which was crowded. Whistles. We have too many stoppages that are not clear, in the women's game. So we've simplified sort of the defensive, the shooting space, 3 seconds, walling. essentially you need to be marked up on a player within the critical scoring area, which is that 15-yard arc. There is no 2-point line. That is one difference. And there is no 8 meters. So just similar, it is woman up, woman down. So it's a quick restart.
That is a notable difference.
Notable
That
difference,
is
yeah.
a very notable
So
difference.
we want to let them play more safely, but let them play and highlight the skill that they have. The draw, so after the draw, you got 30 seconds to get back and be ready.
Wow.
We don't want to take a lot of time. And with the draw violation, this is similar to the men's game. If, we're not going to allow that, like, set up, then reset again. So if you violate, you're off and you can't take the next one.
Okay, that is very similar to the men's game then. So the thought process behind this, because I'll add in that I know there's been a lot of talk about with sixes in the Olympics, it's kind of uniform, right?
Yes.
Like the idea between men's and women's. Is the concept that we want to set the tone for this is what women's lacrosse might look like maybe moving forward?
We have a great opportunity to showcase the best and try new things, right? And make maybe that does become the standard. And I do think bringing the games together, I don't want to turn the women's game into the men's game because I think there's beauty and finesse and skill that we get to see on the women's side. There's a little different on the men's side. But, yeah, make them more uniform. So if anyone turns on the TV, they immediately recognize this as lacrosse and they're not head-scratching.
I don't understand.
What's going on?
Yeah.
The reviews has been a hot topic in the women's game this season. So we have limited reviews similar to the PLL via challenges, and you have 90 seconds. And if you can't tell what happened, we got to restart the game and move on.
Wow.
So we want to keep the game moving, fit it in that 2-hour window for viewers, and just like allow the women to play.
What is the response? Look, I know the players are just excited. There's, they have a league. Like, I know there's some amount of that, but what has the response been from players about the rules changes? And obviously this is a sport they played for a very long time. What's been the response?
I think everybody has really been itching for change. Certainly I played a few years ago and we had,
one or two.
No boundaries. Like it was a long time ago. So I think as the skill of our athletes has evolved, as the stick technology has evolved, we haven't really evolved the rules to go along with it, which has led to like a really difficult job for our officials to maintain control of a game and understand what's happening. The future really was kind of our North Star.
That's great. That's tremendous. Rachael DeCecco is with us, Senior Vice President of Lacrosse, the PLL and WLL. Rachael, I'm going to ask generically, right?
Yep.
As you guys, this is the first full season of the WLL. What is it that fans should expect? What is the goal for what you want the WLL to be in 5 years, in 10 years, whatever that marker is?
Yeah, I think when people watch our game, whether it's in person or on TV, they say, oh my gosh, these women are so incredibly strong and athletic and skilled, and we are able to highlight that and show off what they're able to do.
Can I talk about this for a second? You mentioned the passing, and I was it the quarterfinal day of the tournament that we were hanging out in studio together and we were watching the games, and the number of times I would say to Griffin, like, what is she doing? Why is she making that pass? And yet they all seemed, I'm like, this game is so much different. Like, these are passes that to me would be insane 3 years ago, 5 years ago for sure, and yet they're being made with ease at this point.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, the end of the Stony Brook Johns Hopkins game, the buzzer beater, talk about passing. One more at the end. I screamed. I was in studio and I screamed. Nuts. It was, and that is the beauty and speed that the game can have if we just let them play.
It is wild. I mean, it is wild how things have changed. Rachael, obviously this is an exciting weekend for a lot of people, and it's exciting to have the WL launch. The role that the PLL is playing with the WLL and the idea of maybe bringing everyone together. And we've talked about this with like, hey, you can't help but notice the years the Final Four have been in the same location. There's maybe been a larger crowd that we have seen in those spots. How good do you feel like this is for lacrosse at this moment to kind of be unifying everyone in the same place?
That's the exact word I was going to use, unified. So, yeah, you can come and see your favorite female players. You can come see the men play. You got a son, you got a daughter, you can watch both of it. And I think unifying the games and creating opportunity to be seen. And then, like, when I was growing up, there was no pro lacrosse. It was college, U.S., if you were very, very lucky. And now these girls are coming and they think about in 10, 15 years, I'm going to be out on this field. And that's what we want. More teams, more games, and just really let them play and give them something to aspire to.
I don't want to give any one player, like I know in basketball, everybody's essentially like making Caitlin Clark the North Star, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, no pun intended when I say North Star, but the impact that Charlotte has had on the sport. And she's not the first great player we've ever seen, but she certainly shot the ball different than basically anyone that we had ever seen at that point. Can you define that and what you've seen and the impact that she's had on the sport entirely.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words what she's done for our sport, and that's it. She did something that hadn't been done before. She played differently, and we saw it in the early 2000s with Northwestern, right? They changed the style of play, and then everyone adapted to it. And Charlotte has done that. She has sort of set really the groundwork for what it could be to be a full-time professional female lacrosse player. And when you're with Charlotte, you can't help but be happy and just watch her love of the game. And we were just together at the Final Four weekend, and the young girls, and they're just in awe of her. And she's created that aspirational opportunity for people, and I think she is really the first to do that within the pro game, and it's just really special to watch.
I also wonder now that there's no free positions, that's kind of part of the price of admission though with Charlotte.
It is. So we talked about the stick celly is kind of a cool part of the game. Now they can still do it with 30 seconds, but yeah, I mean the 8-meter. I think it was really, I think, tough in college this year. Teams are living and dying by the 8-meter, and that just can't be what decides the outcome of a game. So, this year it is the flags, woman up, woman down. So we're going to see some real creativity with 6-on-5, 6-on-4, and there'll be new things that we see that, Char ripping it from the 10, with a woman up opportunity. So, yeah, that part is interesting. You think about a Maddie Taylor, Charlotte North, Izzy Skane not having that, but I think they're going to come up with new ways to entertain us.
By the way, I feel like it's just what everybody's doing. I feel like everything is a step down now from 8 meters.
I mean, it's the stick. I know because they can. I mean, they're so strong. The sticks.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. All right, what else should we know about? What else is going on in your world? What else are you excited about this summer?
Yeah, I mean, just getting on the road and watching the women play. I mean, we've got the Maryland Charm here this weekend. Sydney Black homecoming. We've got Bridget Duffy on a professional field for the first time, which I cannot wait to see her in this short midfield. We didn't talk about that, but just as a PLL, we've taken space out of the midfield, so transition is going to be so quick. So seeing some of those middies just light it up in transition, the rides, it's going to be incredible. So getting these college kids on the field that just finished amazing careers, I can't wait for that this summer.
I love everything about that. Rachael DeCecco, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you, because I have genuinely learned something today, and I'm now even more excited about tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
Sure
Rachael
thing.
DeCecco, Senior Vice President of Lacrosse for the PLL and WLL. Why don't we grab one more break? When we come back in, then we'll get a tidbit, tubular. We'll talk to Isaiah Likely. That's all on the way. It is Glenn Clark Radio, live from Ridley Athletic Complex for Whipsnakes and Charm homecoming weekends.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Well, spring and summer have sprung up in Baltimore. That means more than ever it's time to visit one of the two great locations in Baltimore for the Costas Inn. The new location at Timonian Fairgrounds next to the OTB has the same great food, ambiance, and hospitality as the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard in the heart of Dundalk and Sparrows Point. Both are open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, but remember, it's only the original location for steamed crabs. Take this number down, 410-477-1975 to reserve your slice of Maryland heaven. Make sure you check availability, size, and price point for your next feast. The Costas Inn, always the right choice for dining.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnkin LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnkin LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkinlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
You're mad I got the hat, aren't you?
A little bit.
I figured you probably would be.
It's good-
Sorry,
it's
man.
good
You already
hat.
had your own hat.
I mean, yeah.
It's just the way it works, right?
Yes, you're right.
It's an early bird gets the worm type of situation.
Is it?
That's
Well, I
the
mean,
way it works. Well,
I was the
closer,
early.
physically
Oh, okay.
closer.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the.
In that sense, yeah.
What do you mean you were the early bird? What does that
Well,
mean?
because I got the hat first. I was first on the Maryland.
I think I gifted that. I think it was sent to. Oh no, did you buy that one?
This one, yeah, this one I think I got.
I thought that might have been
2
sent.
years
I felt like we had one
ago?
sent to us.
I've had
we?
this one. We
All right.
did. We did.
All right. Well, what happened to that?
My brother has that one.
Oh, okay. There you go. There's that answer. All right. Was there anything that we needed to get to?
I guess not a ton.
No?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. We talked about the Orioles.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about last night.
Albert
Suarez is back.
Yeah.
I kind of love that.
You can't
man.
shake him.
Well, it seems like that was, again, sort of like he just sort of said this time, look, man, I'm just not going to Norfolk. Like, I've done it enough. I've done this for you 10 times. I'm not doing it for you in 11th. Like, God bless you. When you need me, let me know. I'll be here. I think he understands where they are with roster manipulation, and it feels like he's willing to be a part of it. He just doesn't have any interest in doing that in Wichita or, I'm trying to think of other AAA cities off the top of my head, Indianapolis. Like, he's just good on that part of the equation. That's the sense that I've gotten. But yes, Albert Suarez.
Yeah. I guess what would be the one? Like if Atlanta comes calling and he can play with his brother.
Yeah, I could see
like
that.
That would be the.
And that means that Cameron Weston, who actually obviously looked very good
Yeah, he did.
last night, being put in a one-run game in the ninth
I
inning,
was like,
which
wow,
was
this is what
wild decision.
I also was like, debut, because I confused him and Cameron Foster for.
Oh, right.
I
You
was
thought-
like,
no,
I thought,
you're not the only one.
Yeah,
You're not the
I was
only
like,
one.
I was like, hasn't this guy been up and down?
In
times
fact, I
still?
think I was listening to the pregame on the radio, and Josh Lewin was like, and Cameron Weston is here, who is a different human being than Cameron Foster.
Guess I should have been listening to Josh Lewin.
Yeah, I did get that from him. Yeah, we didn't talk about the basketball game last night. It was
not a whole lot, I guess.
Kind of, you know, it's funny because my kids were off school today. I don't know why. They never go to school. I don't.
Because PLL.
That might be it. Oh, you know what? I think it's unfortunate. I think someone in the I think they're in a private school, and I think that maybe the Monsignor may have passed away. I think there's something like that. But my kids were going to be off school today, so last night, my wife and I said, "Hey, yeah, you can stay up. You don't have school tomorrow. Like it's fine. You don't have to go to bed at a time." And I was watching the baseball game, and so then when the baseball game ended, my son said, "What are you going to watch now?" Because he was like trying to figure out, am I going to stay up or am I going to go to bed? And I said, well, I'm going to flip over to the basketball game and watch the basketball game. And we flipped over, and like 2 minutes later, he just kind of looked at me. He said, "Dad, the Thunder are cooked." And I said, "You know what, son? I think you're right about that." He said, "I'm going to go to bed." It was like halftime.
It's like if Wemby decides to shoot or not, basically seems to be determining the game.
A lot being made about Wemby maybe turning into a little bit of a cheap shot artist. That we saw the
hard foul thing?
Well, the hard fouls from the previous game, where I don't remember who it was that was going into the game, but essentially, as they were going in, he said,
Plumlee.
Yeah, it was Plumlee for sure.
And then I forget the other one, another journeyman, but yeah.
And he said hard fouls, and they appeared to go right after Jared McCain. But then last night, he was pulling what's-his-face's hair, and that got people pretty worked up that, like, hey, as much as we've been talking about the flopping, and with good reason we've been talking about the flopping, the question is, are we kind of missing the other part of this, which is Victor Wembanyama, who, as of this point, has seemed to be a really likable, really good guy, you know, nothing that we had against him. Now, obviously, he got ejected from the one game. Now we have the hard fouls thing. Are we seeing...
He's a competitor.
And, like, there's a part of you that says, yeah, that's just with competition. There's another part of you that like, the hard fouls one was a really bad look. That was a bad look. Not because we think that nobody ever commits hard fouls, but just because giving, like, orders feels pretty gross. So,
well, I think he... Yeah, I guess there's not a way to really defend it, I guess. I was going to say, I mean, he's not telling them to foul. He's just saying if you're going to foul.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do it in a physical
rough,
fashion.
It was a rough
Make
look.
them obvious.
We do get a Game 7, though, out of it, and I am excited about that. That will be tomorrow night. All right, you got a tidbit for us?
Yeah, I do. Let's see. I had a...
Tidbit is brought to you today by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan, Ross, and Luke are talking baseball with you every Monday. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by Warnken Law.
I guess, yeah, you're not gonna get any of these, but
okay.
The last time the Whipsnakes did play 2 weeks ago, P.D. LaSallo, their face-off man, had a hat trick.
How about that?
Yeah, it was only the 12th. Yeah, the 12th.
Stop it.
Face-off hat trick in pro lacrosse history. Goes back to 2005 here.
Because that predates when face-off specialists were specialists.
We're just Fogos, yeah.
Yeah, some of those guys were just midfielders. Like it's possible Paul Cantabene did it at some point.
Yes, he is.
I'm not surprised by that. Greatest face-off specialist.
Paul Cantabene.
Greatest face-off specialist of all time.
And actually just 10 guys, because one guy did it 3 times. Doug Shanahan. Doug Shanahan. You just I guess I'll just read out the rest. Tim Booth.
10 guys' names.
Yeah, Peter Ing.
Okay, Ing, yeah.
Jeff Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Snyder also on there twice, so 9 guys. Drew Simanu and Trevor Baptiste and Zach Tucci.
Okay. All right. Trevor Baptiste probably would have been a guest at some point.
He could have gotten him. And then because I stumbled across this, we were doing Twib earlier today with Stan. 12 teams who would be required to raise their payroll.
Oh, I saw this. The Orioles were the first on that list, weren't they?
They were because they're 167 and 171 is what the proposal was for the salary floor. So the Orioles at 167 will be one of those 12 teams.
So the others
required to raise their payroll.
Obviously the White Sox, the Marlins.
Yes.
The Rockies.
Yes. You said, hold on, I should be keeping track of this better.
Yeah, or I should be. Hang on. The White Sox, the Marlins, the Rockies, the Orioles. How about the Nationals?
Nationals are on there. Rockies.
Oh, boy.
Nationals, White Sox. Yeah, Marlins are the lowest in baseball. It's 78 right now.
How about
78 million.
How about the Rays?
Yes. 103 for the Tampa Bay Rays.
How about the Reds?
The Reds are at 132.
The Athletics.
The Athletics are under 100, 94 million.
The Twins?
Twins, 105.
How about Kansas City?
The Royals are at 146, yes.
I know they've spent some money, but what about Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh is on there, $104 million ahead of the
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many more do I need? 2 more? I got a chance to go perfect here too.
2, 3 more. Why do
3 more?
All right. Did I miss? Or maybe I miscounted this.
How about
3 more though?
I said Minnesota, right?
You said Minnesota.
Okay. Cleveland?
Cleveland, second lowest payroll in Major League Baseball, $80 million. Just $2 million.
I did not realize
ahead of
that.
Miami.
And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 11.
Unless there was actually like 14 teams. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Man, who is the other one? Milwaukee.
Apparently there's 15 teams, actually.
Oh, good. So it's half the teams.
Yes, Milwaukee.
Okay. So I still need to get more teams.
128 and one more, yeah. 5 million less than the Orioles. So 162 for this team. Oh, they're just paying $1 million per game, basically.
Who is it? Like I keep saying it's not them, it's not them, it's not them, it's not them, it's not them.
This would be perfect. You go 15 for 15 here.
Son of a bitch. Seattle?
Seattle. 162 million.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Please tip your servers and enjoy Semisonic coming up next. Wow, look at me. I'm amazing. Today's show has also been brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which I normally have right in front of me, but I forgot to bring one with me from the studio.
I meant to as well.
But it's still available for a few more days with Bill Ordine's cover story about the future of the Preakness. Then it's gone. So go get it now at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Now this.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Okay. I guess it's worth pointing out that this time Albert Suarez is on a major league deal.
What does that mean? Is that
what do you mean?
Like how does that?
They can't just.
He'd have to be DFA'd.
Yes,
still, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so what you're suggesting is they could just keep doing that and hoping that
they've been. They've been doing that, haven't they?
No, they didn't they just option him?
No, he's been DFA'd.
Has he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got to think about
pretty
this.
Pretty sure he's been DFA'd like.
I got to think about
4 times this season.
I got to think about what that means. I have no doubt that it means something different.
More guaranteed money? I don't know. I mean, I think you're right.
I know. Suarez, MLB deal, whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter enough that I'm going to waste time on this. I'm just going to tell you what's coming up totally tubular this weekend, and you can know that Albert Suarez is on a major league deal. And if that is information that impacts you, then God bless you. If not, then just get on with your life. Here's what's coming up this weekend. Orioles, Blue Jays. Tonight, Orioles will send out Trevor Rogers. Adam Macko is the starter for the Blue Jays. I cannot pretend to know anything about Adam Macko. Tomorrow,
Austin Voth is the
bulk guy. Is this is an opener?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Macko should be the opener. I believe.
Got it. Tomorrow, Treya Savage against Brandon Young. Go get him, Brandon. Tonight at 7:05, tomorrow at 4:05, Sunday at 12:15. Sunday's game on NBC.
It's a pleasure now to be joined here on GC.
And we know Kyle Bradish goes for the Orioles. We do not know yet who's going for the Blue Jays. Of course, homecoming weekend out here at Ridley tonight. The Whipsnakes against the Cannons at 6 o'clock. Then the Charm against the Palms
at 8:30. I gotta work on what exact whistle tune I should go with.
Tomorrow, the Archers and the Whipsnakes at 5:30. The Chaos and the Water Dogs at 8. All that on ESPN Plus tomorrow at 1. The Atlas and the Outlaws, the championship rematch.
Oh, that's right. We're going to see Mikey Waystar tonight.
Yeah, that's that's right. That's on ABC. Tonight, the Game 5, Canadiens and Hurricanes, 8 o'clock on TNT and True TV. Tomorrow for Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder at 8:30 on NBC. The Champions League final. Who you got? Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal tomorrow at noon.
What the heck? Let's goon, boys. We'll say it's
huh?
Yeah. Isn't that
say what now?
The Gooners. Everyone that cheers for the
sounds like
Arsenal.
Something a master
no.
Bader would say.
No. That's just what what we Arsenal fans say, right?
You Arsenal fans.
I'll pick them. I'll say Arsenal because why not? Why not make it a magical season?
We didn't do our baiting yesterday, did we?
I think we did.
You did the previous days.
Baiting. Yeah. I'm a day behind now.
Yeah.
Okay. On the bait.
I thought you were the master. Everything else, GlennClarkRadio.com. Non-sports.
Dutton Ranch, out on Paramount Plus. Was there anything? I don't know. None of these. Nothing that looks good to me. There's a Rafa. There's a Rafa documentary on Netflix.
They might need to start making one
about Rafael Palmeiro, of course.
Rafa, they call him.
Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, they might need to start making one about the new Rafa Jodar, who beat Alex Michelson in a 5-setter today and is one of the top 3 favorites now to win the French Open, despite the fact
so
that
who's going to win?
Never heard
So it's
of
going to be Zverev?
I'm terrified that it's going to be
Although it's just
Zverev.
the next top guy's just been kind of getting axed, one by one. So maybe Zverev, does that mean he's the next guy to
But
get
he's
upset?
a mental midget, man. So, there's nothing that would surprise me, but I am terrified that's the way things shape up.
Storage Wars Season 18, Saturday night, tomorrow night on A&E.
Hell yeah.
And then the Season 3 finale of Euphoria.
Oh, wow. It's already over?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thanks today to Michael Rabil. Thanks also to Rachael DeCecco and RJ Kaminski. Thanks also to Zack Britton and to Isaiah Likely, who you're about to hear from. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the...
There's a Craig Ferguson doc on CNN. Does that count?
Why?
I don't know.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com.
Because it's about the Late Show, I guess.
Is that worthy of a documentary?
I don't know. I guess so.
Monday on the program.
Because the other Late Show got canceled.
Yeah. Baltimore native now getting ready to go play in the World Cup. Alex Freeman, the son of the great Antonio Freeman, will be joining us on the show this coming Monday, and Stuff and Things as well. Don't forget the Bat Around with Paul and Zach coming up on Sunday night. And pray for me as I will be out Cub Scout camping with the kids.
You'll
this
have
weekend.
fun.
I'm doing Orioles game day, however, on WBAL on Sunday morning.
Oh, from Cub Scout camp?
This is gonna be a show. This is gonna be a show. Me waking up, packing up a tent.
What time do they play tomorrow?
Tomorrow they've got the 4:05.
Yeah, you're not watching.
I'm bringing the phone with
Yeah,
me,
I
but
guess
I don't
you're
have a way to charge it in the woods. Somebody said to me, they're like, you should have gone out and gotten like a power. I'm like, dude, we're camping for one day. For one. I'm not going out and, as we were leaving the office today, I said to Griffin, I'm like, I might need to stop at REI. And I just said on my way over, I'm like, no, I'm not
Yeah, then you beat me over, and I was like, oh, okay.
I'm just not spending this type of money for a one-night camping. I was like, maybe I'll get a better air mattress. I'll go. I'm like, no, it's one night.
Could be worth it. I don't
I'm
know.
just going to complain. That's what I'm going to do.
So that's...
So
okay.
Pray for me.
Great. So that's me. So on Monday on the program, Alex Freeman and
yes, Glenn's back hurts. That's what you're gonna have. Yeah. See you on Monday. Thanks to all of our great sponsors and partners. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. We wrap up today's show. Go Orioles, go Whipsnakes, go Charm. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. I had to do it a little bit earlier on, but an opportunity to catch up with Isaiah Likely right here on GCR.
Well, it's a pleasure now to be joined here on GCR by someone who I don't love saying is a former Baltimore Raven, now a New York Giant. He is fan favorite, Mr. Isaiah Likely, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Isaiah, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Appreciate you having me.
Isaiah, if you can walk me through, right? I imagine the emotions the last few months have kind of been wild for you. How do you describe, from maybe the greatest play you've ever made, right, at the end of the Pittsburgh game, to how that unfolded to those months? How do you describe everything from the end of December to this moment? This is not, this probably is going to be my last season in Baltimore. Even when the season ended, did you feel like it still might work out that you end up staying in Baltimore?
I don't think it ever hit me until I signed, with the Giants. You never want to look too far forward in the future, always just trying to step with God, especially during the year. Everybody kept asking me what I was doing. I was just really trying to focus where my feet are, try to put the best ball on film, just coming back from injury. And really just being there for my team and making plays when plays weren't there to be made.
Isaiah Likely is with us here on GCR. Isaiah, you referenced being with the Giants, and I no doubt it's exciting. You're in New York, but clearly part of that is there's an awful lot of familiarity when you look around, right?
Yeah.
What has it sort of felt like you never even left in a way because you're there with John and you're there with as many guys as you are? Is there a feeling of it's kind of Ravens North at this point?
Coach Harbaugh just keeping the culture that he's always had, trying to, instill, a winning culture, a winning atmosphere, a winning attitude, and really just, letting, familiar faces just preach, what he's been preaching. And I feel like, we've been doing a great job trying to, get all the whole team together on the camaraderie of trying to, be one beat, one sound, and really just being able to be ready for that first game against the Cowboys.
Isaiah, did you guys have conversations with each other? Those of you that were free agents, did you talk about, hey, let's try to keep the band together as much as we can, or did it kind of just I'm imagining you and Pat Ricard or somebody being like, dude, come on, what are we doing? Or did it just sort of work out that way that you guys all ended up there?
Yeah, it kind of just worked out. I mean, obviously, seeing how many of my guys are going to be free agents, I think we had 17 that was going to be, I think presented to be a free agent. So seeing as much as possible, I mean, I knew, at least they had at least one more home in the Giants when Coach Harbaugh got a job, just being able to put that on paper. But, especially when I signed, seeing how many familiar faces was in the building definitely gave me a smile.
I can imagine. I can imagine that's helpful. Isaiah, the time that you spent in Baltimore, we've kind of joked, right, that it feels like there's been no one more snake bitten during their Ravens career than you were, right? Between the almost moments, the moments we'll never get over the thing against the Steelers last year. That, I don't care. That was a touchdown, period. We all know that was. Obviously, you make maybe the greatest play that has been made in recent memory. And then, of course, we know how that gets followed up in Pittsburgh. How do you describe the time that you spent? And you referenced the injuries, everything you went through. I know there was a lot of joy, but how do you describe the time that you spent in Baltimore?
I just always use the word blessed because, all the moments I've been through just put me in the situation I am in now. And that's playing the sport I love since I've been 4 years old at the highest level. Having a vet, Morgan Moses told us a great quote was, you're playing a kid's game for a king's ransom. And that's always stuck with me, through the hard times and the good times, knowing that, this is what I've been trying to do since I was 4 years old, whether I was making no money. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the focal point of an agent. I mean, to let, business be business. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, all the relationships I made in Baltimore, those are my brothers. They know at the end of the day, they call me, I'm there for them. From LJ to Zay, Snoop, et cetera, Derrick Henry, everybody. But at the end of the day, business is business. Like I said, Mark, I mean, I let my agent, be the business person and take the relationships out of it to be able to put me in the best situation for my family, my situation to be to put the best ball I got on film.
I completely understand that. We're chatting with Isaiah Likely, another couple minutes here on GCR. Isaiah, I think that a lot of Ravens fans, maybe were caught off guard by how many of you guys followed John to New York. And there was this thought, hey, if the coach was fired, then if all the players still like him, can you explain maybe a little bit about the way that you guys felt about John and why it was that so many of you said, I still want to be around him moving forward, even though maybe it didn't work out for us this season?
I'd say, just what he's put on paper. I mean, Coach Harbaugh is a winning coach. I mean, he has, I would say, one of the top best win percentages in NFL history. So just understanding that and then really just understanding what philosophy and culture he brings, year in and year out. Like you said, when he was with the Ravens, I'd say the mantra was making the playoffs and trying to get to the biggest game possible. And when you don't do that, that's when the city goes on fire. So understanding, what type of coach you're playing for and what type of organization you're playing for in Harbaugh, you know that you're going to be in those big games and those big moments. And it's what are the players going to do to get over the hump, to get over those situations, to be able to get to the next level.
Isaiah, we referenced some of the heartbreak, right? We referenced, obviously, the thing from the Steelers game, and everybody will think about Kansas City. What were your favorites, though? If somebody said, hey, what was your favorite moment of being a Baltimore Raven, what would it have been?
I'd say one of them was definitely my first touchdown in Tampa.
Yeah.
From L. That was definitely a good moment. Another one was probably my one hand against the Dolphins at home. We played them in, I would say, 2023, I think.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. That was a good one.
And then, I mean, it probably isn't a crazy moment to everybody else, but it's just, sentimental to me. My first touchdown coming back from injury against the Steelers. That was probably that was a good one for me just because, everything I went through that whole, offseason, trying to get back on the field, trying to get back to myself, finally getting in the end zone was a good feeling for me.
the last one, right? Like, do maybe like 40 years when you're talking about it with your grandkids, something like that, do you maybe rewrite history afterwards and say, yeah, kids, and that's what we needed in order to get into the playoffs, and we totally did. That history just changes a little bit as the years go on. Isaiah, I feel like, can you put into words what Mark has meant to you in your career and what you've taken from him and how valuable he's been for you in becoming the player that you are?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Mark's, my brother at the end of the day. I mean, I want to see him do nothing but the best. I tell him every time, it's you versus you while you're on the field. Can nobody do you better than you? So just make every play that comes to you and to just be you, just reminding him. And he just really instilled, to me to be a pro's pro. Whether that's, taking care of my body on and off the field, understand, to study the playbook, study the plan, and really just being, quarterback friendly. Whether it's being on the same page with whatever quarterback you're playing with, whether it's in the film room or on the field, making sure you're always on, quarterback time and understanding zone concepts and where everybody got to be. And I feel like, Mark taught me that at the young, being a rookie. So when I got into now where it's, what's crazy is I'm in year 5 going in now. So now it's just second nature trying to teach the younger guys.
Right, you're doing it. Yeah, right. You're the old guy now. That's the way that it works. What about when somebody doubts, like, can Mark still do it? I'm sure you've heard this about Lamar, too, even, right? Like, how much do you laugh when people say, like, you hear people say those things?
It's crazy to me because at the end of the day, Mark's, still young, I'd say. I mean, he's 30 years old, but he's still moving around with, the COVID babies. I mean, some rookies are coming in at 25, 26. So he's still right there with them at their quote-unquote young age.
Right.
So, just reminding them that, Mark's going to be where he got to be at all times, and he's going to make the plays that he needs to make just because, I always tell him he's all-pro Mark. And at the end of the day, when he gets in that mode and when everybody sees that, he's untouchable. So just, always instilling that confidence into him.
All he's ever done is play at a high level. Isaiah, I want to handle this appropriately, and I think that you will because I know you. Because obviously there was a lot made of the stuff that you guys were dealing with as a team this week. But I feel like it's a great lesson to people about, like, inside a locker room, there's a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions and a lot of different backgrounds. I feel like we make a big deal about stuff like this. When stuff like this happens, can I assume it's not nearly as big of a deal inside of a locker room as it is to everybody on the outside?
I mean, you always want to, give somebody a voice. Everybody has their own voice and opinion, so you always want to, hear where everybody's coming from. But you always want to hear both sides of the coin. So just just reinstating both sides of the coin, really talking to each other, really just being open with each other. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all brothers. So just hearing, how your brother felt in both situations in the moment, and then really just, working upon that. Because at the end of the day, we're here to do a job, and that's play football.
Right.
And at the highest level to try to win the biggest game. So just always instilling that. But always, understand that everybody has an opinion, everybody has a voice.
I feel like that's a lesson that a lot of people outside of football need to hear right now. I feel like we as a society need to be a lot better about handling that, and that's a great lesson for a lot of people. Isaiah, did you do anything? I know this isn't the first money you ever made, but this was obviously a big one. Did you do anything for anybody? Was there any particular meaningful, I got something for somebody when you signed this deal?
Nah, I ain't getting none yet. This summer I will be.
Okay.
I'll be. Yeah, it's soon though. I can't say it because the person it's supposed to be a surprise. But I don't want the person hearing about it.
All right, I can respect that. I think that as there's like you are very popular and very loved. I think there's a lot of people in town that are gonna miss your wife just as much. I think that and how popular she's become on social media. Isaiah Likely, you know how this works. We're going to root for you for forever. You've been an incredible person, someone we've always appreciated the time with. You know that when the Ravens play the Giants in the Super Bowl, we're going to root like hell against you. Like, you understand that. But for you, we're always grateful for the time you've taken for us, man, and we're wishing you the best of luck. Thank you for doing this as always. We really appreciate you.
Always. I love Baltimore, everything, and I know when I see y'all in the Super Bowl, when y'all get there, I'm going to have a lot of jersey swaps to do with my brothers.
I know, there's no doubt about it. Thank you, Isaiah.